Nobody at the coffee shop knows who you are. That's the whole point. Corner booth. Same one. Every Tuesday. 8:47 a.m. give or take. Black coffee. $3.50. A book you've been on page 112 of for 3 weeks. Not because it's boring, but because your own thoughts keep pulling you away. The barista is maybe 23. Pencil behind her ear. Never uses it. She calls you by your first name. She thinks you're a freelance accountant. Something about the way you stare at your phone sometimes. She said once, "You've got that number cruncher energy." You laughed. You said, "Yeah," something like that. Your phone buzzes. You look at it once. Just once. Then set it face down on the table. Dashboard alert. 14 rental units in Columbus just auto-collected monthly rent. $31,200 deposited. No phone calls. No chasing. No drama. You take a sip of coffee. This is your life. And it looks nothing, God, it looks nothing like what people picture when they hear the word wealthy. It started 11 years ago with a broken vending machine. Not exactly the origin story people want to hear. No Silicon Valley garage. No drunk epiphany at 2 a.m. Just a Tuesday in the break room of a logistics company in Columbus, Ohio. A machine that ate Marcus from accounting's last dollar bill. For the third time that month. You were 26. Miserable in a quiet, manageable way. The kind of miserable where you still showed up on time and answered emails, but something behind your eyes had already checked out. You watched Marcus slap the machine twice, mutter something, and walk away. The building manager gave you the shrug of a man who had long since stopped caring. And you just stood there. 300 people in this building. They all need snacks. They all need that afternoon sugar hit. And the company that owns these machines keeps dropping the ball because this account isn't big enough for them to care about. You did math in your head for 45 minutes that night, standing in your kitchen, cold pasta on the stove. Just math. You called 6 vending companies before you found one willing to lease machines at a rate that made sense. You negotiated a placement deal with the building manager. 15% of gross to him, exclusive access to you, handshake in a conference room on a Thursday. You drove those machines yourself the first weekend, borrowed your buddy Travis's pickup truck, and didn't tell him what it was for. First month profit, $340. After every cost, $340. You remember standing in your bathroom, looking in the mirror, thinking, is this stupid? This feels stupid. But you reinvested it. Every cent. Second building by month 4. Third by month 7. You were still clocking in at the logistics job. You told nobody. Not Travis. Not your college friends. Definitely not your mom, who would have said, and she would have meant with love, "Baby, that's so small. Why are you even bothering?" By year 3, 43 machines, 11 buildings, 1 part-time assistant named Kevin, who thought you were just a guy with a side hustle. Monthly profit, $8,900. Boring. Completely and totally boring. And that was the day you understood something. The boring stuff doesn't fail dramatically. It doesn't spike on Twitter. Nobody writes a think piece about it. It just sits there making money, while everyone else is chasing the thing that shines. Here's what nobody tells you about real money. The silence isn't modesty. It's armor. The second people really know, something shifts in their face. This almost imperceptible recalibration. Suddenly you're not a person anymore. You're a resource, a solution to a problem they've had for years. Their cousin's food truck idea becomes your problem. Their underwater mortgage becomes a Thanksgiving conversation. So you learn to disappear. Not hide, just not announce. The car is a 2018 Honda CR-V, 84,000 miles. Coffee stain on the passenger seat from 2021. Never cleaned it. Because honestly, who cares when people at networking events ask what you drive and you say Honda CR-V? You can watch them mentally downgrade their expectations of you. That downgrade is useful. That downgrade protects you in ways a Range Rover never could. The apartment is clean. 2 bedrooms. Quiet neighborhood. North side. You own the building. Have for 6 years. But you live in Unit 2B. Your name on the mailbox looks the same as every other name on every other mailbox. Mrs. Patterson in 4A. Retired school teacher. Spent 22 minutes in the hallway one October morning telling you about the leaking faucet under her kitchen sink. The absentee landlord, she called him, didn't even have the decency to respond to emails promptly. You nodded. You apologized on his behalf like you were his spokesperson. Then you called your property manager from inside the elevator before the doors even open on your floor. Plumber was there by noon. She slid a thank you note under your door. Thank you for listening. The world needs more of that. It's on your fridge. Has been for 2 years. There's something about that note that gets to you in a way your net worth never has. You're not sure you want to look at that too closely. By year 5, the vending machines had made enough to fund something even less glamorous. A laundromat, not a startup, not a tech-enabled disruption of the laundry vertical. A laundromat in a strip mall in Dayton, owned by a 67-year-old man named Roy who wanted to sell because his back hurt and his wife wanted to move to Scottsdale. $43,000 cash. Upgraded 3 machines. Installed card readers. Roy had been cash only since 1987. Hired Sandra, who had run a dry cleaner for 12 years and knew everything about everything. Revenue up 40% in 8 months. You were there twice. Then parking lots. Bought through a municipal tax lien process you found by reading city notices online at 10:45 p.m. on a Wednesday with a bowl of cereal in your lap. Nobody reads those notices. Nobody. For $1,400 a month combined, managed entirely by a parking operator who handles everything, including the people who scream about tickets, then self-storage, then a small commercial cleaning company whose owner, Frank, sat across from you at a Panera and said, I just want someone to take care of my people. And you said, I will. And you meant it. Then ATMs, a modest fleet of them, sitting in convenience stores and small hotels, charging $3.50 a transaction to people who needed cash at 11 p.m. None of it exciting. Say that twice. Your accountant, sharp woman Carol, has done your books for 4 years. She called your portfolio aggressively boring once. Meant it as mild criticism. You took it as a compliment. She could tell. That seemed to frustrate her a little, which you also didn't mind. People think adventure is an island somewhere, a private jet, a restaurant with no prices on the menu. That was never the thing. The real electricity? Finding something broken that everyone else has walked right past. There's a feeling right before you make a move on a distressed asset. It's almost physical. Your brain gets quieter. Everything else falls away. You feel it now. Across the street from this coffee shop, there's a self-service car wash. Temporarily closed sign in the window. Been there 4 months. You noticed it 6 weeks ago. Drove past it 8 times. Ran the property records on your phone. While waiting for takeout one Friday night, the owner is a 71-year-old man named Gerald. Moved to Boca Raton after hip surgery. Hasn't been back since. Equipment is older but serviceable. The location, wedged between a Quick Trip and a Kroger, is almost insultingly good. You finish your coffee. You take the long way out. You photograph the contact number off the sun-faded sign. The paint is peeling at the corners. The T in temporarily is almost completely gone. You save a number under. Car wash Gerald. You'll call Thursday morning. Not too eager. Thursday morning. It gets lonely. Not in a way that keeps you up at night. Not in a way you tell anyone. But there are whole conversations you can't have. Whole parts of yourself kept in a separate room that nobody gets to walk into. Your best friend Ryan, good man, genuinely good man, coaches his daughter's soccer team on weekends. Always tries to pick up the tab when he can, which isn't always. He told you once, over drinks, that he just needed one break. Just one thing to go his way. He's been saying that for 6 years. You've been listening for 6 years. You know with absolute certainty that you could solve most of his financial stress with a check written in under 60 seconds. You don't write the check. And that's not coldness. You need people to understand that. You watch what happened when you gave money to someone who wasn't ready. Your college roommate, Derek. $40,000. 7 years ago. He had a plan, a dream, and a way of talking about things that made you believe. The money was gone in 14 months. The friendship took 2 years to come back. And it came back different, quieter, with a scar you can both feel, but neither of you mentions. Money doesn't fix preparation. It just accelerates whatever's already there. So instead, you spent 3 Saturdays at Ryan's kitchen table, his laptop open. You built him a spreadsheet to track his household cash flow. Talked about it like you'd just read about it somewhere. He didn't know you'd been doing this since you were 26. He got it. You watched the light come on behind his eyes, slow. Then all at once, he texted 2 weeks later. Man, I didn't realize how much was just leaking out. Yeah, that's the whole thing. You crossed $950 million in net asset value on a Thursday afternoon. Carol sent the reconciliation at 3:12 p.m. subject line. Q3 summary. No exclamation point. Carol is not an exclamation point person. You were at Kroger, standing in the condiments aisle, genuinely deliberating between two pasta sauces. One was $2.79. One was $3.49. Because you couldn't remember which one you liked better. You read the email. You stood there for a moment. You bought both sauces. You went home. You made dinner. The $3.49 sauce was, in fact, better. You sat on your balcony, watched the street, and drank a beer that cost $1.39 from a six-pack you bought Tuesday. No one called to congratulate you. Nobody knew. The city moved the way it always moves, unhurried, indifferent, enormous. But there was something in your chest. Not pride, exactly. Not relief. Something more like recognition. Like a long, slow nod at yourself across a very large distance of time. You thought about a 26-year-old kid borrowing a pickup truck on a Saturday morning, moving a vending machine alone into a building while the security guard watched with that particular expression people save for things they think are a waste of time. He would not believe this. Every single boring Friday night was worth it. You finished your beer, washed the pan, went to bed. Tuesday, corner booth, black coffee. Your phone shows 2 messages from your property manager in Columbus, a quarterly operations report from the Dayton laundromat, and a missed call from a number that turns out, when you search it, to belong to the owner of a small HVAC servicing company in Indianapolis. 64 years old. Ran it for 21 years. Added considering transition options to his LinkedIn bio 3 weeks ago. You add it to a list. The list has 11 names on it. The barista comes by. Pencil still behind the ear. Still unused. Same time next week? Same time next week. She refills your coffee without asking. She's been doing that long enough to just know. She doesn't know you own 3 buildings within 4 blocks of where she's standing right now. She doesn't know your machines are in the hospital 2 blocks north. That your ATM is in the 7-Eleven at the corner she walks past every morning. That the parking structure she uses when she picks up extra shifts, $8 a day, has been for 2 years. Quietly routes its profits into an account she will never see. She knows you're the guy in the corner. You tip well. You always bring a book, even if you never seem to get very far in it. You open it. Page 112. Somewhere out there, 14 different boring businesses are running without you. You read, that's enough. It's more than enough. It's everything.